All right, I think I'm live. So, first things first, before I just hop right in, I wanted to introduce myself. My name is Adriana. I go by the Lazy Millennial, and I am an online operations manager that has a special focus of business systems and standard operating procedures. They kind of go hand in hand, but I want to explain more what SOPs are and everything in just a moment. So, moving forward, last week, if you caught my video, I talked about business systems, processes, the whole nine. So, if you did not see that, make sure wherever you are streaming this or viewing this, make sure you check the last video. It's either in the Facebook group, it may be still posted on LinkedIn, or just check the YouTube channel and you can look at that. So last week is business systems and processes. So today we are going to combine all of that. So standard operating procedures are simply a whole, it's pretty, I call it ecosystem because I see it as a living, breathing thing. But your SOPs, your standard operating procedures, are literally documented proof of how your business runs and operates. It is that simple. So whenever you see SOP, automatically that comes to mind. It should be, oh, that's how I run my business. So why are these things important and why am I constantly talking about these things? So one, we always focusing on like business systems, like people are telling you like, what is your system, like you should have this, that, and the third. Yes, you should have that. And again, I'm kind of referring back to my last video referring back to my last video about that when it comes to business systems and stuff. You should have your systems and everything kind of mapped out, and this is where the documentation comes from. Like from the very beginning, you should be documenting and mapping out your processes prior to even like trying to figure out how you're going to hire, how you're trying to scale, all that stuff. If you don't have a clear process of how you're trying to get from point A to point B or whatever it is, then behind it. So first things first. So whenever you're starting your standard operating procedures, usually in an ideal world, like you already have like your processes maybe like written out somewhere and you're just combining them to put inside your process and making videos and all that stuff. But a lot of times that's not the case. Many times small business owners, myself included, we forget this step because we're so focused in on marketing. We're trying to find the best program. We're trying to grow. We're trying to do all this stuff. And obviously we're trying to make money here. Like standard operating procedures, it's time consuming. I'm not going to lie. And it's downright boring at times. So we kind of avoid that. Like we don't need that just yet. So we kind of push that to the back burner. And then when you're actually at the point where you're trying to hire or you're trying to bring someone in your business, all that stuff, this is where all the negative emotions come in. Like, oh God, I don't want someone touching my business because this is my baby. This is just pretty much anything you think of. Like, I can't hire somebody. They don't know how I operate. They don't know like how things run inside my business, or everything's inside my head is like another popular one. Like I have it in my head. I can't put it out on paper. I wish I could have someone suck. Oh, I can go on and on about this, but pretty much your standard operating procedures helps eliminate at least, I want to say maybe 95% of that. 5% is obviously the individual because sometimes you can have everything documented, you can have everything marked, but sometimes if the person's not a right fit, they're not a right fit. And we're going to talk about that in another video. But anyway, so standard operating procedures. So now we know our SOPs is the living, breathing, I call it ecosystem, living, breathing ecosystem of your business. This is where everything is housed. So if someone were to come in today and be like, hey, like how do you run your business? Or if you were to get sick, you want to sell it, whatever you plan on doing with your business, your SOP is there for them to actually have like the whole blueprint of how your business is run. So SOPs, whole blueprints. So how do you start documenting all this stuff? Like maybe you're a couple years in, or maybe you're just starting out. You have no idea where you want to begin at. I got you. So first things first. Oh, thank you. I can't reply yet, but thank you for your comment. But anyway, so where was I at? So yeah, where do you begin at when you have all this stuff going on? So first things first, let's say that you didn't even start documenting your systems, like you kind of just been going with the flow and now you want to take things more seriously. So first, you are going to start with the things you do daily. So let's say that you check your email daily, you check your CRM. I'm a service provider, so I say CRM. Your CRM is your client relationship management tool, and this is where like all your client information, contracts, invoice, all that good stuff is normally held. So let's just say like daily, you go in there, you check out forms, you reply to emails through there, wherever it is. Maybe you use Canva to do like a graphic. Maybe you're not, maybe you're like me, that's very random and you don't really schedule posts and stuff. So you go in there daily. So you want to start out with that kind of process first. So like daily, I check my email, I send them to I label them, blah, blah, blah. Whatever the process is, like it's yours. So whatever the process is, that's what you want to kind of start document. Like, okay, I'm doing this daily, or I'm doing this every few days. Let me go ahead and write down how I do this, and I'm gonna tell you the next step. So now that you start off with like the stuff that you do daily, that may be kind of time consuming, but it has to be done. So next, what you're gonna do is start actually recording what you're doing. So this is where the full SOP comes in. So I didn't mention this in the beginning of my video. So what makes a full standard operating procedure is normally when you have like the video and the text instructions. So a lot of times employee handbook is like really popular. So I use that a lot in my examples. People think like, oh, okay, employee handbook is SOP. Like, yeah, in a sense it is, but it lacks like the how, like how you actually do something. It tells you what to do, but it doesn't tell you how. And this is where all the videos and I do like the blog style stuff and everything comes in. Like you want to show people how to do it. Like you can tell people what to do. Like a lot of people tell people what to do. And that's where the struggle lies in, like when it comes to hiring, is that people tell you the what, like, oh, I need help with email. Oh, I need help with social media, but they don't tell the how. Like, how exactly are you doing this stuff? And this is why people are often struggling with finding people because they miss the how part for the standard operating procedure. That is the biggest part of the procedure. Like you might as well not even write anything if you don't have the how, like how are they doing it? So going back, after you write out your process and everything, you need to show the step-by-step how you're doing the work. So I like telling people record. If you have closed captions, that's amazing. Please have that in there. If you don't, you can always like add it back in. But like the point is here, one, we're in the digital age. We like to stay ahead. So like having closed caption, you're more inclusive that way. So yeah. Yes, exactly. Like step by step. You may think it's simple, but when someone's coming in, it can be overwhelming. So you want to so you have the step by step how you do this. Step one, log into Gmail. Go to mail.gmail.google.com. Step two, type in the email address. Step three, do that. Like it's redundant, but it pays off because again, like we said, your standard operating procedure is your living ecosystem of how your business works. And it's gonna make like it's gonna constantly need updates. So like you kind of like start slow. So I feel like I kind of hopped all over the place. So I'm gonna kind of like backtrack what I said. So from the beginning of the video, standard operating procedures, your living, breathing ecosystem of your business. Like someone should be able to go in there and pull out information and run your business that way. Like if you were to hire a business manager or whoever you want to hire, they should be able to access a certain part of your SOP and mimic what you're creating. If they cannot do that, then that's where you know you kind of have to reevaluate or you need to check your process, all that stuff. So that's why it's super important to check that at least I do it quarterly, but some people do like twice a year or at least once a year. At the end of the year, something you do need to keep updated. But anyway, so we have that. We have the we figured out the processes. Since we're starting from the beginning as though someone else did not write it, I say start with like the day-to-day stuff that you're doing. Another thing, sometimes like if you're already at the point where you need to hire, I say kind of map out what you need to hire for. So there's two different ways. So there's the one way, like if you're kind of like just starting out, like, okay, let me get used to doing standard operating procedures. Start with the stuff that you do daily and then kind of add on. And then for those of you that are about to hire, I say start off with the stuff you are about to hire out with because the person's going to need that. They're going to need to know like how you're trying to do stuff. And if it's something that, and if it's something that you aren't familiar with, like I've hired out for Pinterest. I don't know much about Pinterest. I get overwhelmed on Pinterest, but I do have a goal in mind. So instead of like writing the step by step how to do Pinterest or how I imagine Pinterest to do, because I have no idea how it works, I just told them, okay, this is the goal I'm trying to reach. This is what the aftermath looks like. And like, just let me know if I'm being way out there or is this feasible or something like that. So it makes things a whole lot easier. So you don't have to know everything about what you're documenting, but you need to at least have like the end goal and plan in mind. So I'm going to try and wrap it up here. I'm going to do another video on this to kind of go more in detail because as y'all know, I built my whole business around this, so I could go on and on about it. But overall, the basic things you need to know about for SOPs is that one, it is your whole blueprint ecosystem of your business. So you have to have everything in there, like all your ideas, and you can kind of split it up to where like, okay, certain people have access to this part, this person have access to this part, like this is only for team only. You can do all kind of things with it, but like you should have like your ideas. That's why I like telling people put their goals inside of there, like your yearly goals, quarterly, whatever, just because it gives people direction, like where you're trying to go out with your business. Because when you keep it inside your head, like if something were to happen to you or you decide you want to do something else, like your business can't go on because everything's inside your head. So you have to document this stuff down. And also, too, like why it's important, obviously, we're expected to grow no matter if you're trying to stay like a small business, like one business, like you just want one building, you just want your employees, all that stuff. Whatever the case may be, there comes a point in time you're going to hire at some point. So having your documentation and how you do everything is super helpful, and it helps avoid all of the headache, heartache, and all that stuff. Like just that simple. You have the step by step, everything set right there. And also too, how to do them. Start with the process that you do daily. Write them out first. I find it really helpful to actually like write them out first, like the process for that first, and then go in and kind of do like the video recording. Because I don't know about y'all, when I actually go in, I kind of get weird on camera. So I'm just like, oh wait, and I forget a step. But when I have it written out prior, then I kind of just follow like what I already have written out and just have it recorded. But do not feel rushed to do this. It's super important to have, but again, it grows with you. So like just start off with the stuff that you're normally doing, and then as you expand out, as you hire someone to kind of take over the day to day, then you have more time to actually focus on like the other stuff. But most importantly, day to day stuff and how you manage everything is the key things I would focus on. If you're about to hire, again, make sure you have whatever you're hiring for documented first, then you can start working on the other stuff. But you can do like a few videos a week and you already start building towards it. Like, don't worry about getting organized. Don't worry about making it perfect. Find the perfect system. Just document and just keep it like in a little folder. You'll have time to update and make it look fancy another time. But yeah, that's pretty much about it. So SOPs, blueprint for your whole business. You need it, need it, need it. And if you have any other questions, feel free to drop them below and I will answer them. I will be back next week with another video just to talk a little bit more about standard operating procedures, and I'll show how I have mine set up and some best practices and all. And I will see y'all next week. So see you later.